Today we're going to be talking about persuasion principles to boost your conversion rates. As Amazon becomes increasingly competitive, everyone has to raise their game. A lot of attention is given to advertising performance, but that effort can be futile if your product pages are not working hard to effectively communicate to the prospective customer. There's lots of superficial advice out there about using all product images or making sure you use all bullet points, but those don't wash. Everyone has got to this point. We're going to go much further and going to discuss what actually persuades someone to purchase. We're going to be talking about knowing what makes your audience tick. So what that really means is do your research. Now we're very fortunate with Amazon that we can look at our customer reviews across all of our product range and understand what people like, don't like, what they want from the product, what's excited them about the product, what's disappointed them about the product. And we can do the same thing with our competitors, so asking the same questions as you investigate what people are saying about those products. Now you might also have lots of customer research from your own website, you can do lots of surveys, you can poll people, you can even get people to look at your product pages and ask them to sort of talk through what they find on that product page, what they like, what they don't like. And having that first-hand information from people is really valuable, as well as the more qualitative information you will get from the reviews. Fundamentally, that research informs all of our optimization strategy. So it's really important before you start to improve your product pages that you do your research. Secondly, think of your Amazon product pages as a demo and not a catalogue. And what do I mean by that? Just imagine that you're doing a demonstration in a supermarket or in a big retailer, and you've got your products in front of you and there's lots of customers, people walking past. How are you going to grab their attention there and then? There's lots of other things going on in the store. There's lots of other products that they could be looking at. What are you going to say that's going to grab their attention, and how are you going to do that really quickly? Conversely, a catalogue would simply be describing the product on a very kind of superficial, descriptive way. And that's not really exciting people. There's no kind of emotional pull there. It's not informing or really educating them. When you think about your product page as a catalogue, now think about what a catalogue is. It's simply a list of products and a very descriptive piece of content next to the product. That's not really persuading people. And you've got to remember, on Amazon, it's a marketplace with an infinite range of other products. You've got to grab people's attention, and you've got to do that by more than just describing what the product actually is. It's why are people going to buy the product? So you've got to get into that mindset. This is all about mindset. So think of this as a product demo, not as a catalogue. Secondly, think about how your product solves a problem. So what people are really looking for when they go to buy a product, when they go onto Amazon, is to get a job done. Essentially, they've got a problem with something to do with their home or in their kitchen. They need to get something done quicker, faster, cheaper, whatever it might be. You've got to think about what is that outcome that the consumer wants and how your product solves for that particular problem. Now, if you can answer that problem really clearly and show how your product is the solution for that particular problem, then you're going to go a long way to really grabbing people's attention and also reassuring them that they know what your product is and that it's designed specifically for what their requirements are. So number 3, why should I buy this product? As we've already talked about, Amazon is an infinite marketplace, there's an infinite choice. And just describing your product very simply isn't going to cut the mustard. You've got to answer the question, why should I buy this product rather than any of the other products that are on the Amazon marketplace? So think about what makes your product better than other products that are on the market. That leads us nicely into the next step. Emphasize the advantages of your product. You're going to find, obviously, there's lots of advice out there about talking about benefits and then features of a product, but we like to go one further than that and talk about the advantages of your product. So as I say, what is it that makes your product better than other products that are out there on the market? What is that differentiating factor that means that people should buy your product as opposed to anything else that's out there? Now that could obviously be an infinite number of different things that make your product better. But usually we're talking about things that are making people happier, healthier, saving them time, being able to get something done quicker. It's cleaner, it's easier to use, those kind of things. So really think about how you are going to get across those advantages that your product has. Okay, number 5, countering objections. So once someone lands on your product page, they might know your brand already, they might even know the product. But that doesn't mean they won't have any hesitations about buying the product. There might still be things that they're not quite sure about that might stop them from buying the product. So a really good question to ask yourself when you're optimizing content is to ask yourself the question, what is stopping the customer from buying this product? Why would they not buy the product? And if you've got a list of things why they wouldn't buy the product, then you can address those head on and kind of line by line go through each of those objections and essentially dispel any kind of hesitations that the consumer might have. Number 6, shoppers scan, be visual. So as you probably know from your own experience of buying online, most people will do that on their mobile device. And the way that people buy on their mobile device is going to be different from the way that they would consume information and buy product on a laptop or a desktop computer. So you've got to think about that as you design the product page and how you communicate to people. The first thing to remember is that people will scan the listing. They're not going to look through that in a nice, clean, linear fashion and read every piece of information there is from one down all the way down to the bottom. They're going to move around, scan different bits of information. What people tend to do is look at the product title just as reassurance to make sure they're on an actual product page that is related to what they want to buy. And usually people will then sort of jump immediately down to the more visual content, or they'll go and look at the reviews. So they're skipping around all over the place. You need to grab their attention. So your content needs to be eye-catching. And what that means is making your content more visual. So don't lead with very text-heavy A+ content. Don't try to stuff the bullet points with too much content just because you've got the character count. Remember that people are scanning here. They're probably busy. They're probably distracted. You've got to have simple information that's communicated visually to them that allows them to pick up the most important information very quickly. Number 7, less is more. So this really relates back to our previous point, shoppers scan and a visual. So we know that obviously you can actually produce a lot of content and publish that to your listings, but is that actually what the consumer wants? In the old days, you might have stuffed lots of keywords into your listings because that was the way that you were able to get a product to rank on Amazon. But that's not the case anymore. You've got to think of the consumer first. What is going to be the best thing for them in order for them to buy the product? That will enable you to increase your conversion rate. And fundamentally, your conversion rate is what leads to lots of other benefits throughout the Amazon ecosystem, and you'll be rewarded with greater visibility. So don't worry about stuffing your content with keywords or too much information. Boil it down to what is critical information that someone needs to buy the product. And remember, most people on their mobile devices, it's actually harder for them to consume more information anyway. So just on a very practical level, remember that less is more. When features sell. Now, we've talked a lot about communicating the differentiation of your product versus other products on the market. So we talk about advantages. You might even talk about benefits. So what is the use of this product? Why is it good at the thing that it says it does? And that's fundamentally true. What you'll find is a lot of people saying, oh, you must promote your benefits over your features. And generally that is true, but do not forget those features when features are critical to the purchase decision. So let's take an example. If you're buying a very technical product, you need to know the technical information. They're not necessarily benefits of the product or advantages of products. They're just the practical information that tells you this is the right product for you. So it could be compatibility, it could be size, it could be weight, it could be connections to other devices, real practical information. Now, if the consumer doesn't have that information, that doubts start to creep in. And it's a really simple thing that people often get wrong because they think they've got to concentrate on really showy information and forget about the practical stuff. But critical, when features are important to the purchase decision, make them really clear and obvious. So in summary, in order to create high converting product pages, there are 8 sales persuasion techniques that you need to know. 1, know what makes your audience tick. Do your customer research before you stop to change your listings. 2, get into the mindset of thinking about your product page as a demo of the product and not just a descriptive catalogue. 3, remember that you're there to solve a problem for the consumer. Explain how your product gets the job done. 4, remember that your consumer wants to be told why they should buy your particular product. The real critical element of that is emphasizing the advantages of your product. Next, counter the objections. People will have hesitations about that particular product, and you've got to counter those objections. This is where customer research really comes in, and knowing what actually would make someone hesitate, and then address those very directly to the consumer. Next, remember that shoppers scan and you must be visual. Most people will be buying on their mobile devices. And related to that, less is more. You've got to grab people's attention, be eye-catching, and remember a few key messages are better than trying to overwhelm the consumer. And finally, remember, when features sell a product, make sure they're prominent within the listing page. Thank you for listening to our video today. I hope you've really enjoyed it and taken lots of valuable lessons out of it. You'll be able to catch more videos on LinkedIn, our website, and on YouTube. Remember to follow us wherever you're watching those videos. See you next time.